That's right. Ken Cooper. Here it is.
So Ken, this
Yeah,
one of my favorite things of the book is you talking about watching old not old movies, but like I agree, you watch like a Ferris Bueller's and you feel younger than the characters still because you
right, right. It happens with everything like Fast Times, Pretty in Pink, all those films. It's like, man, you feel younger still, you know?
it's crazy, right?
Yeah,
It's
it's a trick of the mind.
yeah, I just took my nephew to the Stranger Things exhibit and they had a room where they had new releases of VHS and they had Fast Times at his new, I mean, it was crazy.
Yeah, that's great.
But this is your book, which I love. Rock and roll will only break your heart, and time's a big theme in it running through, which I love. You know what I
Yeah,
mean?
absolutely. Time and family, and it's a thread of the family throughout the book that I think gels it all together.
Yeah. And I met you and your dad in '89, like 32 years
Right.
ago outside Hollywood Western. I can vividly remember you guys walking up to put us in your
Yeah,
magazine. My first time in a magazine in LA. There we are,
right.
filthy rich.
That's
And it,
awesome.
yeah, it was
Yeah,
crazy.
I remember walking down the strip when you guys were first promoted, handing out flyers
Yeah.
to that gig that said something about skin tight
Tight
pants,
pants. Yeah,
leather
yeah,
trap. Yeah,
yeah, yeah. Teenage tramps in skin tight pants. Hollywood,
yeah,
something like that. Yeah.
yeah. And I remember thinking that photo, and you guys just captured like that old crew spirit. You didn't really see the bands like hugging each other and
Yeah, yeah.
in headlocks like you remember Shout Out the Devil era. You would
Yeah.
see that.
That's
So
true.
yeah, I saw that flyer. I'm like, oh man, these guys look great. And I remember going up to one of the other members, might have been Jamie, and asking for another flyer. He goes, "You already got one." I'm like, "Yeah, I want
Uh,
another
it's
one."
that flyer ended up being in a Seinfeld episode. There was like a lot that went pretty far. I guess we didn't realize what we are doing because one of the band members' families was horrified because we looked like semi like yeah, like at the time it was weird. You know what I mean? It was like
Yeah.
a weird thing. Like
Mhm.
well, like you say, it was just that spirit, that thing that Hollywood does to a band. We definitely had the Hollywood makeover by living it. You know what I mean?
Absolutely. Yeah.
And I love you. You're living in Vegas and you moved to North Hollywood with your family. Just
Mhm.
you've taken the journey as well, right?
Yeah. Well, my brother and I really convinced our folks to make the move.
Okay.
We're like, we gotta be in LA.
Yeah.
That's where the music is for me. And he was into acting and all that. So it made sense. And, every day we'd be nudging them, let's move. And supportive parents they were. Yeah, it wasn't
Wow.
wrong. Yeah.
It felt like a metal version of Cobra Kai when you're moving in the book and Doug Aldrich is your neighbor. I mean, a rock god is your neighbor. That had to be huge, right?
Yeah, it was like, well, there's next guitar teacher checked off the list, but yeah, it was really cool. I'd go up to his upstairs and take lessons from him for about 6 months. And um, he'd invite me to the Lion gigs whenever they did something. And yeah, it's just cool to rub elbows as soon as you land in LA.
Yeah, it makes it seem real, like it's attainable. Like this could people actually do this. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's crazy. And I even love another going back when you and your dad go see Kiss. I
Yeah.
love this where you talk about not understanding the concept of an opening band because I remember getting Kiss tickets as a kid for my birthday in '77 and not understanding the concept of paper for my birthday. Like, why you give me paper? It doesn't look like it's typewriter. Like, so you don't understand these concepts even when you're
Yeah.
a kid.
It was lost on me. And so glad that my mom asked, like, what happened here? Why'd they take the makeup off? We were expecting to see Kiss. And no, that's the opener. And it turns out it's Crew. It's like they only did a week
Yeah.
run on that Creatures tour. So it's like we lucked out. I think the Plasmatics were another opener in some other states, but we got Crew, and that was amazing to see them.
That's
Too Fast for Love, yeah.
that's incredible. I got the opposite of you. I got the switch. I saw the Detectives, who weren't horrible, but it was the one night Billy Squire didn't play with them at the Garden.
Okay, yeah,
Yeah. But and even another thing I love about the book is you talk about how LA feels when you're visiting it. I know I'm jumping around. It is true, because now I don't live there. I go back, you visit. It's weird to the feeling when you visit.
it is, yeah. It's almost, you can appreciate it differently. I think when you're in the middle of all the runaround and trying to do this and that, you feel the pressure. It gets to you. If it depends what you're doing, it depends if you're making it work or if you're kind of, just getting by. But
Yeah.
anytime you visit, whether it's LA or, yeah, you just feel different when you're a visitor, right?
Yeah, yeah. And like you say, making it work for you. You can either get caught up and sucked in, but you've always worked and made things happen for yourself.
Yeah, hustler at heart.
Yeah, yeah. And when I have a lot of friends that have been successful at things where they apply the rock and roll logic to something else and bring some of that in. We have Mike from Swinging Thing, who was just a producer on Kid Cootie's Intergalactic
Is
show.
that
And
right?
yeah, and it
Yeah,
just applies that same logic. And you've done that with real estate. I mean, you've
yeah,
made it cool. I love looking at all your real estate. It's cool. It's not just, like the
yeah.
red-faced baseball coach on the shopping cart.
Oh, I couldn't do that, man. And I see these agents that you look at their page, it's one house after the next. That's all they're featuring. Here's me in a great house. Here's what I got for sale. It's like, that's cool, but if you were a buyer, don't you want to know who's representing you and what they're into and who they are? So I kind of just apply that
It's
philosophy and
amazing.
what I would want to see. I
Yeah.
want to meet somebody cool that would be like, let's go check this house out, you know?
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Well, does it get cooler than getting into real estate through Jimmy Thrill, Jimmy Quill? I mean, he was the biggest rock god at that time, still is. I mean, still
Yeah,
probably cooler now than ever. And he got
sure.
you into this, and he told you that you can buy as many guitars as you want after you sell a
Yeah.
house. I love that part of the book. But
Yeah.
explain Jimmy getting you into this and your relationship with Jimmy. That's so cool, I thought.
Man, like you, like when I got to LA and first picking up BAM, and it was actually Rock City News or LA Rocks at the time.
Yeah.
And one of the first pages I turned, there's Jimmy with Tammy and this great caption that says, "Everybody knows me. I'm a fucking star." And I'm like, who is this guy? But he's right. He looks cooler than hell.
Yeah, yeah.
And so years later, when I started doing the podcast, that's when we really reconnected and been friends with him ever since. And he's
Yeah.
just been uh, more than a friend. He's like a mentor. He really is. I can't even tell you. It's like I call him about real estate. He calls me about music.
Amazing. Yeah.
Yeah,
And
cool.
he's one of those things, that's one of those things in LA. I mean, him and Rattlesnake Shake, you can't describe it because I don't think it got it recorded perfectly. There's not perfect video footage of just like the level, the GNR level that operated on. When you walked in the teaser somewhere and just saw him, it was like
Mhm.
a white James
Oh,
Brown. It was insane. He's still insane. Whether he makes a movie, whatever he does is
for
large.
sure. Yeah. Yeah. Talk about a presence for sure.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's crazy. And then you also talk in your book about going back and the good old days being gone, that some things are just wrapped up in LA. I mean
Mhm.
it's
Yeah.
how do you feel about that?
Bittersweet, I guess,
Yeah,
but I do like the nostalgia about it. And if you look hard enough, you will find your people. But that whole feeling of what it was when we were there.
yeah, rock and roll was everything. I think now people are into a lot of things. The kids into Japanimation, a little into rock and alter. It's but we had one mission to rock.
Exactly right. Yeah. And that's what's changed. You don't see that full on commitment anymore, or establishments that are only for that,
Yeah,
only for that crowd. It's all blurred. It's all mixed up today.
yeah, yeah. It's
Yeah,
crazy.
it
Um,
is. I mean, you got to think that that was the time. We're not going to see it again.
no, no,
You know?
no, never, never. It's just too
Yeah.
disintegrated.
Yeah.
Even within I DJ rap and
Mhm.
a lot of that time, and even that I tell people like there's not as many common songs. I can't play new songs because just like TV shows, and that's good. TV hasn't ever been better, but you
Yeah.
can't keep. We don't watch the same TV shows. There's so many places to watch TV, let alone TV shows that it's the
Yeah.
common experience isn't as,
Mhm.
when we started, you could own every heavy metal record at one point.
Right.
Maiden, Priest, you know what I mean? You could
Yeah.
own them all.
Today's there's so many options, and that's why people's attention spans wander. I mean, it's hard to keep somebody interested, I feel.
Yeah. And then when you do ride through, you see the ghosts of places like you talk about Carney's, and I still go there, and you go, how many different versions of myself have walked through into this train? You know what I mean?
Yeah, for sure.
You have a cool story because I always talk with Luke. You know Luke Tierney, I'm sure,
Mhm.
yeah,
Yeah.
about Carney's being the daytime rainbow. I feel like, and I
Mhm.
like
That's
Carney,
pretty accurate.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. And
Sure.
then and he walked in after we said that, and he saw the guys Jizzy with the guys from Quiet Riot, which is fun. Yeah.
Yeah.
So you ate there with Rod Stewart.
Yeah.
That's just
Uh,
one of the types of stories in this book, but give us a little insight into that. That's huge.
well, having been in a band with one of his stepson at the time, Ashley Hamilton, we went to school together, Ashley and I. So um, yeah, we didn't get off on the best start when we met, but we became fast, close friends, like best of friends throughout our school days, and had our band together. Um, Many close calls with record companies and demo deals, as they called it back then. Um, and Rod, yeah, we went to see him record at Cherokee. Uh, and one of those days where he had to pick up his kids, or the kids had to go back to the house. And he was on a date with Rachel Hunter at the time,
Right.
one of the first dates. And the kids actually met her for the first time.
Oh
And
my
we're all
God.
there at the same time. And so, yeah, got in the car, went to dinner, and dinner was at Carney's.
Oh my God, that's incredible, man. I mean,
Yeah,
then you go back to your place after that. That is a day in Hollywood at that time, right?
for sure, man. Yeah. And just the expressions on people when he walked in was like, it was funny to watch. This is the least expected person you would find, or imagine walking through there for a hamburger.
Yeah. Well, I always say this, and I'm sure you understand this. It's hard to explain to people. There's different levels of stardom that we would see. Like Brent Muscat walks on the strip.
Hmm.
It changes things. That like the
Hmm.
feeling. Everybody, they don't want to admit it, but the atmosphere changes a little. Tammy walks on the strip.
Right.
Ooh, it really changes. If you're
Exactly.
at El Compadre and Axel walks in,
Yeah.
the air completely changes. You know what I mean? And
Mhm.
Rod Stewart's one of those guys that probably sucks the air and recycles it in the room of Carney's.
Yeah, totally. That's how it was.
Yeah. And now you made this companion CD. It's really good with the book. You want to talk about that a little bit? I think that's so cool that you,
Yeah, well, because in the book I'm talking about songs and songwriting and the whole adventure from
yeah,
A to Z. So to not have that available for people to check out would kind of be, a little beside the point. Um,
yeah,
so to have that, and it's available as a download, or a stream rather, on
yeah.
Audius now. So after you finish the book, you could go to the site, check out the songs. So It's
Yeah, and the titles are great, man. I love the titles. They're
right
great.
on.
They tell us,
Thanks.
as you read it like this, it tells a story.
Yeah, yeah,
And it's funny when you do so much. You wouldn't have done this, I don't think, as a kid, because everything had to be why and get a record deal and get your, like, now it's so, I think it's cool doing all this stuff as we get older, because
mhm,
you just don't even know why. You just do it, and you're a lifer. You're a lifer like myself. Like, we're still there.
absolutely.
90% of people are gone and just not doing it anymore. And
Yeah,
it always hits me a lot when we have a mutual friend that we record with, Rick Parker, when I'm sitting on
yeah.
Rick's couch, like,
Mhm.
still here walking Beechwood Canyon to get a sandwich in the middle of the recording day. You go, like, still doing it. You don't know why. You don't know what the plan is. It's just the
Mhm.
unknown still. And we'll probably do it forever.
Absolutely. And I think we feed off of that for sure. But part of the cool thing about where things are at today is that luxury that you can do all of that yourself. You
Yes,
know,
yes.
you can write a book, you can put out CDs. I mean, you record a song today, you put it out tomorrow or 24 hours later, whatever. It's like so instant. And the whole do it yourself approach is more present now than ever.
I'm so with you, Ken. I think it's one of the greatest times to make music and make stuff.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
I have basically a TV show, a cable access show that this will be on, and I'm able to have that
Yeah.
because it's just the way the world works.
Exactly. So that's one upside to it all for sure.
Yeah, people will see this and then take your journey with you. You know, I mean, I think it's so cool. So you had the Vegas part of your book, which I really like. You have Vegas. You go
Yeah.
back to Vegas. You have New York City. That was what were the New York City years? I was trying to figure that timeline out.
That was let's see, early 2000s.
Okay.
Yeah, after getting divorced. So 2001,
Okay.
2002, 2002 rather. Yeah.
And you
From
talk
then
about,
on.
okay, because you talk about the lead up with your divorce, and I got divorced, and I don't think anything teaches you more than a divorce. When you do that
Yeah.
bottom out of a divorce and you
Yeah.
re-find yourself, it's a crazy time. And I felt that
Yeah.
from your book, you
Yeah.
know?
Right. So did you go through a similar thing
Oh,
where
exactly. Yeah, yeah. I would just
you
like,
were throwing shit out? Like,
yeah,
I don't need this.
yeah,
Just
just
letting go of inventory. Yeah.
yeah.
That's how it was for me. You reach that point where in some way you're holding on to that relationship still. But everything is like moving so fast. You're like, I don't want this. I'm done with this. And for me, maybe I should have stayed in Vegas longer because a lot of shit starting to really happen there at the
Right.
time that I left. But I bailed too soon, I think.
Yeah. Yeah, well,
Yeah.
you could think that forever. Who knows?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's but like you say, you find parts of yourself you don't know exist after the divorce, and you don't think, we came from these,
Yeah.
similar families in a way. You don't think you'll be divorced. You'll be checking off divorced on an insurance paper or a tax form. You don't think you'll be the one
For
when you do.
sure, because look, both my parents, they were married over 50 years, man.
Mind you, yeah, yeah. So it's like,
Right.
yeah, you just don't think so.
No, you use that as an example for yourself, I think. But
But down the road, don't you think now? I don't think. I think it was one of the greatest things that happened to me in
yeah,
the amount of education it gave me. I mean, you
absolutely.
shouldn't go get divorced to get educated, but it is an education.
Yeah, absolutely. I wouldn't trade it either. And I don't want to go backwards either, you know?
Yeah, yeah. You were saying that there's a great book quote in the book that I love. It says, "You
Mm.
can't open a new door with old keys."
Yeah, yeah. But I still try, with credit cards or whatever it is. Yeah, that whole philosophy, I'm still trying to knock on those same doors, which I don't know, people might be tired of hearing about me. Hey, check this out or whatever, but I still do it. I don't know.
Yeah, you got to do it. I think it's fun when you hit the I
Mhm.
don't know why. And it's not just fun. You in a way, you don't put this much in without being dead serious. But
Yeah, exactly.
what the path is like, maybe you realize what the old maybe the old key is I'm not going to put this out till I have a publisher, and this is my, like I'm just doing it, and we'll see. And I don't know, something will happen. I don't know what, you know what I mean? But
Exactly. Yeah. And that's a good position to be in, just not think so much about it. Do what comes natural, put it out there, let it stick and see what happens, right?
yeah.
I think
And
that's where we're at.
dude, the book, it is really good. Now, well, you always wrote so that you start with the magazine as a
Yeah.
kid. It flows really good. I didn't get bored.
Mm,
It's a really good book. What was your
cool.
process for writing it and the timeline for writing it?
Yeah, right at the start of the pandemic is when I think all of us had X amount of time in front of us. It's like I remember a friend of mine calling me. I didn't really talk about what I was working on, but she's like, "Aren't you getting bored?" And I'm thinking to myself, "No, I'm not actually, because if you're staying creative, you're not going to be bored."
That's how
So
I made my show. Yeah, yeah. I'm going to make a TV show. Like,
there you go.
why
Yeah,
would it, why? I know if you're, yeah, I
yeah,
guess that's very true.
yeah. So that's kind of the whole mentality I had about writing it. It's like I would just devote. Usually, I like to write at night.
Okay.
I like to just put on a record. And I was thinking in the book, in the acknowledgments, I would have had a list of all the records I was playing while writing this book. But I mean, that would have pretty much been my whole collection, because literally I was listening to everything as I was on my laptop, just writing away. I mean, that's a bit of multitasking maybe, but it put me at ease to hear my favorite stuff playing while I'm writing.
Did you do playlists or did you do actual full records? It sounds like you did
Full
full records.
records.
Oh,
Yeah,
that. What were
exactly.
some of them? What were some of them?
So the one that Smashing Pumpkins came out with, the last thing they did,
Okay.
that was so good. That
Yeah.
was
Yeah.
so many synths on there. I love that direction they were going.
Oh,
So,
yeah. It's really cool.
yeah.
Two of my
Uh,
really good friends are in the band, actually.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
wanted to ask you about that. Yeah, what other bands were they in prior to that?
Well, Joel played with Jeff, the guitar player. That was the real, after Blackboard Jungle, they were in a band.
Oh, okay.
So over the years, me and Jeff have got super close. That's the real
Mm,
connect. And Jack,
nice.
we're just they love metal. They love metal. They might like metal more than we like metal. So that's the big connection.
Yeah, so I mean, of new stuff, that was one of them, and just everything you name it: Bowie, Fleetwood Mac, Cheap Trick, Lions and Ghosts. I
Yeah,
mean, Crew, Gene Loves Jezebel. I mean, everything in my collection is what I was listening to while
that's so cool,
collecting
man.
stuff.
And
Yeah.
how long would you go for at night? But how long was the?
Oh, a couple hours to a few hours. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah,
Whenever it just was time to let it rest and breathe for a bit.
yeah.
The whole thing took a year to write, and
Okay.
then another year to really fine tune it and get a copy editor and start editing away, which was an eye opener, because you think everything's pretty solid until someone else says, "Hey, I think you should double check this,"
So
which
the,
probably, yeah, made me look less like an asshole.
so there was an because it flows. There's not a lot of fat. That's what I love about it. So you had someone edit it and kind of, I'll take
Yeah,
this out. Okay.
yeah. And a lot of how I like to write is to the point. I don't like to hang on uh, a story, a paragraph for too long. I like to get in and out of it, make your point and exit.
Yeah,
That's
yeah.
my style. Anyway.
Yeah, yeah, no, I really enjoy. And the photo on the cover. What's the story with this? I love it.
Yeah. The photographer was great, Safi. She's worked with Charlie Overby and a lot of cool rock and roll people. she was the only one I had in mind to do this because her black and white photos are just amazing. I sent her a few ideas like Iggy Pop breaking the records and all this, and I told her the title. Said this is kind of what I'm going for, and yeah, I think it's a beautiful shot. It's well captured, and the whole thing with the noodles is just a little uh, a little fun inside joke
With the,
between.
what would you say? With the what?
There's a box of carton of Chinese noodles on one of the records. You got to look for it. It's right there on the front.
Okay. Oh, okay.
Straight
Right,
up.
right
Yeah,
there.
yeah.
Okay.
Just a little inside joke. But people know that, some of my favorite food is Thai noodles and sushi and all that. So it's like
Okay.
put it all out there.
That's a very did you like that in Vegas when you were a kid, or that's a kind of a LA thing? I didn't try sushi till I moved to LA.
Yeah, well, my dad took a trip to Japan when I was a kid, living in Vegas. He came back with Walkmans for me and my brother, kimonos for my mom. And I remember him taking us to this little Japanese market that Vegas had, which were few and far between at the time. But there was one where you can get raw tuna. So we got some, he took it, sliced it up, and I was hooked ever since. That was my introduction.
I love it. I was thinking when we met outside Hollywood and Western, which
Mhm.
that whole building could be a book in itself. Your
Right.
dad was probably younger than we are now.
Maybe.
He might have been, 88. Like I think of that. He might have been younger than we are now, or at least
Yeah.
comparable in age. Isn't that crazy?
Yeah, it is wild. Yeah.
To think of what we're doing and what our parents, I mean, I doubt my mom and dad were going to I just went to Crew and Leopard and Joan, what, yeah,
Yeah.
Poison. Like, I doubt they were doing this. They weren't like going, it was
Yeah.
different. You know what I mean?
But yeah, I mean, we were very much a team. What was it like for you when you saw us out and about?
Oh, 100% a team. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
100% a team. I loved it. Loved your dad. Yeah. It was
Right.
super cool. And
Yeah.
yeah, probably can, like this is in a way, this is where the kid starts. This is,
Yeah.
it,
Exactly.
you
That's
know,
very true. Yeah.
Karate Kid, Cobra Kai. You know what I mean? Just like,
Yeah, I
but
did.
just yeah, it's amazing what you've done. And yeah.
Thanks.
So what do you any plans from here? Just keep rolling.
Keep rolling, man. I just yeah, I did a new track with Michael Lockwood from Lions and Ghosts. He's been producing a lot of bands now and has his label. So we did a couple of songs. One of them I put out last year. Did a little
Yeah.
YouTube.
I remember. Yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, there's another one in the works. So we just got to get it mixed and got a great B-side for it that I did with Rick and the Sparkler team, John and Tommy.
Love it. Sparkler, that record was so good.
Wasn't it, man?
I like Sparkler better than Lions and Ghosts. I'm sorry, I might be killed for it, but I do.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah, there's so many great tunes on that. But yeah, for me, it's Lions and Ghosts all the way. Those orchestrations, there was nothing like it.
Yeah,
Hearing the first record for me was like, ooh, this is classy.
they changed a lot. They definitely changed LA and influenced a lot of bands, definitely.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
People say that Evan Dando was just trying to be Rick. I remember hearing that he,
I
people
can see that.
yeah,
Absolutely.
trying to be, model it after Rick. But
Yeah.
so so you got to give me a track to play on the show. You pick one and I'll play it on the show.
All right. Yeah. Play actors.
Okay. All right. I love that. And where's the best place? I'll put a link for people to get the book.
Well, if they go to my Instagram,
Okay, I'll put a link to that.
then there's a link in that bio, which brings you right to the Amazon page.
Okay, so I'll just put a link to Amazon.
Yeah,
That'll be the best way.
either way. Yeah.
All right.
I'm trying to get followers, man. Put the Instagram.
Well, we'll do that separately. We'll do that. We'll put it instant. Well, people follow Ken. I look at lots of cool stuff. I love looking at the rock, the houses, the whole
Cool, man. Thanks.
combo platter. I love it.
Yeah, why separate it? It's all
Yeah,
me. So it's
yeah.
yeah. I think you just got to be you and put it all out there.
And I love that from your book. You're the real estate, the music, the clothing. You're so into shit.
Yeah.
Me and Jamie always say people that are into shit. You know what I mean?
There you go. Yeah.
Just
Jamie's a great dude, man. I run into him every now and then.
yeah, he said that. I'll definitely tell him you said hi and hang out so I could say goodbye and say goodbye to everyone, Ken.
Yeah. Thanks, guys. Thanks for listening. Hope you check out the book and enjoy it. Thanks, Britt. Appreciate it, man.